I'm 84 years old. I've lived in this same zip code for 6 decades, and for 42 of those years, I was building this house. I don't mean I was paying a mortgage on it, though I did that too. I mean I was physically building it, adding on, refining, tearing down walls to make them better, polishing the bones of a place that I thought would be my legacy. Today, I'm sitting in the kitchen. It's a beautiful kitchen. The counters are a dark, heavy granite I had shipped in from a quarry 3 states away. The cabinets are solid cherry. I spent 3 months just on the crown molding in this room. And as I sit here, drinking a cup of tea that's gone cold, I've come to the realization that I've spent my entire life building a tomb. It's a very expensive, very sturdy tomb, but it's empty. I'm telling you this because I don't have much time left to be dishonest with myself. When you're 84, the lies you told yourself in your 30s and 50s start to lose their flavor. They don't provide any comfort anymore. You start to see the math of your life for what it actually is. I was a carpenter by trade, a good one. People in town knew that if you wanted something built to last 100 years, you called me. I took a lot of pride in that. I still do, in a way. But pride is a very thin blanket on a cold night. When my wife Martha and I bought this lot back in 1964, it was just a tiny 2-bedroom cottage. It was drafty and the floors creaked, but we were young. We had our first son, David, and a year later, Sarah came along. The house felt small, so I told Martha, I'm gonna make this the best house on the block. I'm gonna give you and the kids a palace. I meant it. I truly did. I wasn't a man who went out drinking. I didn't have expensive hobbies. I didn't gamble. My vice was work. I thought that because I was working with my hands on our own roof, I was being the ultimate family man. I started with the expansion. Every Saturday, every Sunday, every holiday, I'd be out there with the level and the hammer. I remember Sarah coming out when she was 5, asking if I wanted to play tea party or go to the park. I'd pat her on the head, my hands covered in sawdust, and say, "Not today, honey. Daddy's got to get these rafters up before the rain comes. I'm doing this for you." I said that phrase for 30 years. I'm doing this for you. I remember the smell of the pine and the sound of the circular saw. It became the soundtrack of our lives. Martha would bring me sandwiches on a paper plate, and she'd stand there for a minute, looking at me. She had this way of tilting her head, like she wanted to say something, but she'd just smile and tell me not to overwork myself. I didn't notice at the time that her smiles were getting tired. I didn't notice that the kids stopped asking me to go to the park. They just learned that Dad was in the middle of a project, and there was always a project. The master suite took me 2 years. I wanted it perfect. Heated floors, a walk-in closet the size of our original kitchen. I remember the night I finished the tiling in the bathroom. I was so proud. I called Martha in to see it. She looked at it, said it was beautiful, and then she said, "It's very nice, Bill. Now maybe we can finally take that trip to the lake?" I told her we couldn't, not yet. The siding on the north side was starting to show wear, and if I didn't replace it now, the wood underneath would rot. I told her the lake would always be there. I was wrong. The lake is still there, I suppose, but the version of us that could have enjoyed it is gone. David grew up and moved to California. He's a lawyer. He's very successful. He calls me every other Sunday for exactly 15 minutes. We talk about the weather and my health. He never asks about the house. He never mentions the bedroom I spent a whole summer custom building for him with the built-in bookshelves and the window seat. To him, this house isn't a masterpiece. It's just the place where his father was always busy. Sarah lives closer, but we aren't close. She's quiet when she visits. She walks through these rooms like she's in a museum where she's afraid to touch the exhibits. I realize now that she doesn't feel at home here. How could she? This house was never a home to her. It was a construction site. It was the thing that took her father away from her every weekend. The silence in this house now is heavy. It's not a peaceful silence. It's the kind of silence that has weight. I remember a specific Tuesday in 1988. It sticks in my mind like a splinter. It was my 25th wedding anniversary. I had planned to take Martha out to a very nice dinner, but that morning I discovered a leak in the new extension I was building. A small one, but it bothered me. I told myself I'd just fix it real quick and then we'd go. I spent 8 hours on that roof. I lost track of time. I was chasing the source of the water, obsessed with the perfection of the seal. When I finally came down, covered in grit and tar, the sun was down. Martha was sitting at the kitchen table. She wasn't crying, she was just sitting there in her nice dress, the one with the blue flowers. She had a candle lit. She didn't yell, she didn't throw anything. She just looked at me and said, "Bill, the house is finished enough. When are we going to start living in it?" I told her I just wanted things to be right. I told her I was doing it for her. She got up, blew out the candle, and went to bed. We never talked about that night again. I kept building. I finished the basement. I built a 3-car garage with a workshop that would make a professional jealous. I put in a sunroom with floor-to-ceiling windows. I was 70 when I finally stepped back and realized there was nothing left to build. The house was perfect. Every joint was tight. Every finish was flawless. And that was the year Martha's cough started. We had all these beautiful rooms, and we spent the next 2 years in just one of them, the bedroom with the heated floors. Except she was always cold, so the floors didn't matter. She was too weak to walk on the granite floors I'd spent so much money on. She couldn't climb the stairs I hand-carved out of oak. In the end, she died in a hospice bed we had to rent and put in the living room because it was the only place the hospice nurses could fit their equipment. After she passed, I sat in the sunroom for 3 days. I just watched the shadows move across the floor. I looked at the trim. I looked at the way the light hit the glass. It was exactly what I had envisioned 40 years ago, and I hated it. I realized I had traded thousands of hours of conversation for a sunroom. I had traded hundreds of walks in the woods for a finished basement. I had traded the soul of my marriage for a structure that would eventually be torn down by someone who doesn't know my name. People think that regret is a sudden thing, like a heart attack. But for me, it's been a slow erosion. It's the realization that I spent my life's currency on the wrong things. I'm 84 now. My joints ache. My vision is blurring. I walk through this house and I see the mistakes, but they aren't in the craftsmanship. The craftsmanship is perfect. The mistake is the existence of the room itself. I have a guest room that has never had a guest. I have a dining table that can seat 12, but I eat my toast over the sink so I don't have to clean the crumbs off the wood. I'm telling you this because you're probably busy. You're probably providing. You're probably working on your own version of this house. Maybe it's not a literal house. Maybe it's a career or a bank account or a reputation. You're telling yourself that you're doing it for them, your wife, your kids, your parents. But I'm asking you to look at their faces. Are they asking for a better kitchen, or are they asking for you? I used to think that being a man meant leaving something behind, a monument, something that said I was here and I worked hard. But the house doesn't say I was here, it says I was absent. It's a physical manifestation of all the times I wasn't in the room because I was busy building the room. I see young couples now and I want to grab them by the shoulders. I want to tell them to let the paint peel. I want to tell them to leave the grass long and go play ball with their son. I want to tell them that the memories you make in a drafty, small, imperfect house are worth 1,000 times more than the pride you feel in a perfect one. I'm running out of time. I can feel it in my breath. The doctor says my heart is tired. I think it's just finished its work. I've put the house up for sale. David and Sarah don't want it. David said it's too much house. Sarah said it feels heavy. They're right, it is heavy. It's a burden I've been carrying for 60 years, and I'm ready to put it down. A young couple came to look at it last week. They reminded me of us. He was walking around, tapping the walls, looking at the plumbing, talking about how much potential the place had for more upgrades. He was already planning how to change the deck.
I wanted to tell him to stop. I wanted to tell him to just sit on the old deck and hold his wife's hand. But I didn't. People have to learn their own lessons, I suppose. I'm moving into a small apartment near the coast next month. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, no projects, no crown molding. Just a window that looks out at the water. I'm leaving the cherry cabinets, I'm leaving the granite, I'm leaving the oak stairs. I'm leaving it all behind, and the tragedy is that I should have left it behind 40 years ago. I should have worked just enough to keep the rain out and spent the rest of my time on the people who are now strangers to me. Don't wait until you're 84 to realize that you can't live inside a project. You can only live inside a life. I'm gonna finish my tea now. It's cold, but that's okay.